Today is February the 11th, 2025, and we have Elon Musk today and his little son in the Oval Office with President Trump. I noticed that when we were trying to play it, it kept interrupting, so I'm going to try to show it now to you because I want to have this on my channel. Okay, thanks. Enjoy. Add to stage.
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion.
It's mind-blowing.
Anyway, you can see the rest of this entire video on YouTube. Hopefully it will play for you under Forbes, but it does appear that Elon Musk's son named X has stolen this show. What I've noticed in all this digging up, all this USAID money, it's just astounding, the money laundering that's going on and all the releases of information, especially with the 59 million with the 59 million or thousand, I can't even remember. I wouldn't be surprised either way. There's so much release of information for just 1 week stay in a hotel for illegals in New York. I have to go back and look, but they did find out. Well, they're firing people. Like the chief financial officer of FEMA was fired. And after all that they've dug up and found, I'm seeing that people are losing their jobs. But when are these arrests going to come? I guess they have to bring it all up and out into the open. I don't know. It's just really something. But I'm not going to play this whole entire video. I would like to, but I don't know for copyright reasons. I think that you definitely need to go over and watch it, but let me just play a little bit more actually. Let me add this back because it's really interesting what Elon Musk is doing here. These two guys are geniuses. I mean, the way they're playing this, they've got the kid in the office. And they're, Elon Musk is uncovering everything. He says that he's the tech support for the White House on X, now on Twitter. It's hilarious, just hilarious.
So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints.
You may think that an adult that can't stop watching the
let's just look at some of the comments while this. Okay, so I found out that Forbes is the only place showing this full unedited press conference. And so you may want to know that so that you can come back over in case you want to see them more.
Actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical. I think it's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's proved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's the case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. Also, another crazy thing. So, one of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this obviously there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, well, let's if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told that the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else, and you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think that's an example. Like at a high level, if you could say, like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet. So your quiet?
Your detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted. We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, that people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for, and that's what democracy is all about.
Not long ago, Rita.
I was just noticing his hand symbols, and just can't help but notice he's shooting the Illuminati sign. A lot of people are going to say that too. Let me skip through this painful commercial, and we'll go back to the interview. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just one of these things where he's just tripped up, and it's just so amazing how they are uncovering all this at once. I mean, talking about auditing the Pentagon, okay, and Trump saying Hamas has until noon on Saturday to release the hostages. And I'm just trying to keep up with the news about how many have been released. And I'm trying to look that up right now, but lots of dangerous, I think, situations for not only them, but for us, and God, every day is just something huge. So I just want to play some more of this because it's so interesting. But when I go back over here, you're going to see he's shooting the Illuminati hand sign. Period. Yes.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization. So, you know, and the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, you know, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract with some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts when it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president, I know, has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, you know, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately. You know?
You yourself.
Yes, but transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest.
In other words, they're basically saying, you know, look, I'm uncovering all this stuff we haven't known about, wouldn't even know about now if it wasn't for this person. They put Elon Musk. It's just a genius move. It's like, you can't blame Trump. You can, but you sort of can't. I mean, it's a genius move, and everything is coming out. I mean, I am seeing things even with the climate agenda, and I was researching this. This has to be a whole separate show. I have to come back on. They're downsizing all these places, all these companies and businesses. They're taking half the employees out. I pray that it's going to affect the whole climate agenda. I just pray it is. I mean, it looks like it will, actually, but it hasn't happened here in California. I can tell you that right now. This is really interesting. This interview is incredible.
And we watched that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this. Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? And why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a contract. You got a lot of that. You have a contract that's a 3-month contract. Now, normally, if you're in a small, and in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big. Yeah. But if you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months. It's a consultant.
Can you believe that this guy in this picture is me?
Wow, and just the whole thing going on with them trying to corner, these guys. They are way more brilliant. Sorry. And Trump, he is, I mean, these Democrats, you've seen them in the streets. They are yelling, running. Maxine Waters is like, running. And they show Nancy, she's got like a walker now. And Mitch McConnell is, I'm trying to recall if he was in a wheelchair actually being put in to his SUV, and they're all screaming, term limits. And this is like an old folks home. We're running an elderly old folks, senior citizens home in Congress. And so, all this stuff is coming undone for all those people that have been robbing us for years. I'm talking about our taxpayer money. And I mean, a lot of these people, they have thought that they could just continue to get away with it. So, of course, we have judges that are protecting them. And every time one of those judges come up, pay close attention to who they are and their name, and let's make sure to out them, because they are protecting corruption. They are protecting money laundering. They are protecting criminals, and they will not be safe. Trump is actually going after them too. But we have to we're going to go back over and we're going to watch this some more. This is too good. This is what we all wanted to see. Okay.
But it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years. They don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that. And even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be corruption. It could be a deal's made on both sides, where the guy gets the money, he kicks, I think he's his contract, so he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings. And he wants us to stop looking. How do you stop looking? We've already found it. We have a case in New York where a hotel has paid $59 million.
Okay.
$59
This is
million
what I wanted to confirm.
because it's housing migrants, illegal migrants.
Okay, I was when I was telling you this, I was saying 59 million. I felt in my head, I think I have to be wrong. It must be 1,000, but no, it's 59 million. Look at this. This was our taxpayer money, and Trump is talking about this. This is breaking everywhere, every story. Everybody cannot hide this. Oh, one more thing is CNN is tanking and going down, and they are laying off hundreds of employees right now and having to go to more of a digital format. I noticed that they are actually not doing well at all. Their viewership is down so poorly that they're being forced to lay off tons of people. So this is making me so happy to report. So we're going to go back over to Donald Trump, talking about how illegals lived in a New York City hotel for 1 week's payment of our taxpayer dollars. Well, we're suffering and we can't buy certain groceries and suffering at the gas pumps and just with just trying to live. We have these thieves bringing people in, probably gang cartel members in, and putting them up in luxury. And we know that arrests have to be made, or this is all bullshit. This is all a show. And I'm telling you like it is.
It's all illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Yeah.
Well, if I may sort of just going for the president's comments, at a high level, 2 trillion to 1 trillion. And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And I fully expect to be scrutinized and get a daily proctology exam, basically. Might as well just camp out there. So it's not like I think I can get away with something. I'll be scrutinized nonstop. But with support of the president, we can cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1. And then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build. And if we do that, that means I think we can get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%. And that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth, and you cut the budget deficit by $1 trillion, between now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So everyone's the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario for the average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all the debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average American?
The structure motorized pergola system is reinventing.
I actually need to go back and hear what he's talking about. Did I miss something? I got to go back for a second. I want to just go back. I want to back this up. Sorry, I just want to hear this again.
I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all the debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average American?
We had no
That's what we're
idea. We had no idea we were going to find this much, and it's open. It's not like complicated. It's
not
simple stuff.
complicated.
It's
It's
like
a lot of work.
you can't believe it. A lot of work, a lot of smart people involved. Very, very smart people. But you're talking about anywhere maybe 500 billion. It's crazy the kind of numbers you're
It's really
talking
crazy.
about. Normally when you're looking at something, you'll find you're looking for 1 out of 100. Here, you're almost reversing it. You look for one that's good.
Yeah.
And you can look at the title and you say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And the public gets it. The public gets it. You've seen the polls. The public is saying, why are we paying all this money? This for years, this has gone on. Yeah, go ahead. Wait, go ahead.
Senator Rand Paul today said that Doge cuts will ultimately need a vote in Congress. Do you agree with that? Is that the
I
plan?
really don't know. I know this. We're finding tremendous fraud and tremendous abuse. If I need a vote of Congress to find fraud and abuse, it's fine with me. I think we'll get the vote, although there'll be some people that wouldn't vote. And how could a judge want to hold us back from finding all of this fraud and finding all of this incompetence? Why would that happen? Why would even Congress want to do that? Now, Congress, if we do need a vote, I think we'd get a very easy vote because we have a track record now. We've already found billions of dollars of abuse, incompetence, and corruption. A lot of corruption.
If a judge does block one of your policies, part of your agenda, will you abide by that ruling? Will you
Well,
comply
I
with that
always
order?
abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum. And it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books. If a person's crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So, yeah, the answer is I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal. But appeals take a long time, and I would hope that a judge, if you go into a judge and you show him, here's a corrupt situation, we have a check to be sent, but we found it to be corrupt. Do you want us to send this corrupt check to a person, or do you want us not to give it and give it back to the taxpayer? I would hope a judge would say, don't send it, give it back to the taxpayer.
Yeah, if I can add to that, what we're finding is that a bunch of the fraud is not even going to Americans. So I think we can all agree that if there's going to be a fraud, it should at least go to Americans. But a bunch of the fraud rings that are operating in the United States and taking advantage of the federal government, especially in the entitlements programs, are actually foreign fraud rings. They're operating in other countries and actually exporting money to other countries. We should stop that. and this is big numbers. We're talking about $100 to $200 billion a year. serious money.
Mr. Musk, you said on X that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something
that's
Americans
hilarious.
would be really excited about. And that is really an enormous number of condoms if you think about it.
I mean, this is the genius behind actually Tom Holman, who supporters are, or Elon Musk. It's like they actually have a brain, they have common sense. The dumbest question being asked to these guys, and this is about condoms. $50 million worth of them being sent overseas somewhere, and it basically he's just busting their chops, and just they should feel this big. I mean, they all work for evil. The evil, I feel like they do. I don't know which reporter that was, but Jesus, I mean, this is just ridiculous.
If it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
Can you talk a little bit about how closely you're working with agency heads as you're directing these cuts? Do they have how much input do agency heads have when you're making these decisions?
Yeah, we work closely with the agency heads,
Okay, this is the automatic course creator, and if you are looking.
Let's take a look while we're going through a painful commercial again. Thank you. Everybody's thanking Forbes, who I'm showing this from YouTube. The media doesn't realize how much we the people appreciate something as simple as unedited videos in full. And so basically what I've learned, what it appears to be happening, are people are just putting out clips, and organizations like this one, they would like to probably keep their job. And they've realized, what we like.
There are sort of checks in place, so it's not
that would be unedited stuff.
Just going in and doing things willy-nilly. It's in partnership with the agency heads, and I check frequently with the president to make sure that this is what the president wants to have happen. So we talk almost every day, and I double check things to make sure, is this something, Mr. President, do you want us to do this? Then we'll do it.
USAID has been one of your main targets. Are you concerned at all that some of the cuts or that shutting that agency altogether may lead to diseases or other bigger problems starting in other countries that then come to the United States?
Yeah, so that's an interesting example. So that's something where we work closely with the State Department and Secretary Rubio. And we have, for example, turned on funding for Ebola prevention and for HIV prevention. Yes, correct. And we are moving fast, so we will make mistakes, but we'll also fix the mistakes very quickly. So
Do you see it as a worthy cause, USAID?
I think that there's some worthy things, but overall, if you say what is the bang for the buck, I would say it was not very good. And there was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
I think just have to follow up to the Pentagon contracts. If you have received billions of dollars in contracts from the Pentagon, and the president's directing you to look into the Department of Defense, is
Yes,
that
we
a
definitely need
conflict
to
of
do it.
interest?
Are going to do at the president's request.
Does that present a conflict of interest for you?
No, because you'd have to look at the individual contract and say, first of all, I'm not the one, filing the contract. It's people at SpaceX or someone who will be putting to the contract. And I'd like to say, if you see any contract where where it was awarded to SpaceX and it wasn't by far the best value for money for the taxpayer, let me know, because every one of them was.
The president said the other day that you might look at treasuries. Could you explain that a little bit? What kind of fraud, and that question goes to both of you, what kind of fraud are you expecting to see or do you see right now in U.S. Treasuries?
I think you mean the Treasury Department as opposed to Treasury bills, or
You also referenced Treasuries on Air Force One the other night.
well, as I mentioned earlier, really the first order of business is to make sure we're actually collecting. Sorry for this. Although my son might enjoy this, but he's sticking his fingers in my ears and stuff. So it's been hard to hear sometimes. Hey, stop that. The stuff we're doing with the Treasury Department is so basic that you can't believe it doesn't exist already. So for example, like I mentioned, just making sure that when a payment goes out, it has to have a payment categorization code. It's like, what type of payment is this? You can't just leave the field blank. Currently, many payments, the field is left blank. And you have to describe what's the payment for, some basic rationalization. That also is left blank. So this is why the Pentagon, when's the last time the Pentagon passed an audit? I mean, a decade ago, maybe? I don't know, ever? Really? And we want to just, in order to actually pass audits, you have to have financial information that allows you to trace the payments. And once in a while, the Treasury has to pause payments if it thinks the payment is going to a fraudulent organization. Like if a company or an organization is on a do not pay list, we should not pay it. I'm sure you would agree. Like if it's quite hard to get on that payment, the do not pay list, it means that this is someone that is like dead people, terrorists, known fraudsters, that kind of thing. We should not pay them. But currently we do, which is crazy. We should stop that.
Many transactions. And by the way, hundreds, thousands of transactions like that. You know, we have a big team. And for the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. But we're looking at just, when you look at USAID, that's one. We're gonna look at the military, we're gonna look at education. They're much bigger areas, but the USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent and it's really corrupt. And I can't imagine a judge saying, well, it may be corrupt, but you don't have the right. You got elected to look over the country and to, as we say, make America great again, but you don't have the right to go and look and see whether or not things are right that they're paying or that things are honest that they're paying. And nobody can even believe this. Other people, law professors, they've been saying, how can you take that person's right away? You're supposed to be running the country, but we're not allowed to look at who they're paying it to and what they're paying. We have massive amounts of fraud that we caught. I think we probably caught way over a lot of billions of dollars already in 2 weeks?
Yes.
And it's going to go to numbers that you're not going to believe. And much, as I said, much is incompetence and much is dishonesty. We have to catch it. And the only way we're going to catch it is to look for it. And if a judge is going to say you're not allowed to look for it, that's pretty sad for our country. I don't understand how it could even work.
So, can you personally guarantee that
Which one?
The buyout program that offered to federal workers, can you personally guarantee that the workers who opt in to resign now will be paid through
Well, they'll get
September?
their money, but they're getting a good deal. They're getting a big buyout. And what we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. We have office space. It's occupied by 4%. Nobody's showing up to work because they were told not to. And then Biden gave them a 5-year pass, some of them, 48,000 of them, gave them a 5-year pass. And for 5 years, you don't have to show up to work. And let me tell you, this is largely, much of this stuff is because of Biden. It's his fault. He allowed this country, what he did on our border. What he did on our border is almost not as bad as what he did with all of these contracts that have come out. It's a very sad day when we look at it. I can't even believe it. But many contracts just extend and they just keep extending and there was nobody there to correct it. And that cannot be, I can't imagine that could be held up by the court. Any court that would say that the president or his representatives, like Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of State, whatever, doesn't have the right to go over their books and make sure everything's honest, I mean, how can you have a country? You can't have anything that way. You can't have a business that way. You can't have a country that way. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Mark Fogel will be at the White House tonight at about 10 o'clock. If you want to come over, you can say hello to him. Not much. No, they were very nice. We were treated very nicely by Russia, actually. I hope that's the beginning of a relationship where we can end that war and millions of people can stop being killed. They've lost millions of people. They lost, in terms of soldiers, probably 1.5 million soldiers in a short period of time. We got to stop that war. And I'm interested primarily from the standpoint of death. We're losing all those soldiers. And they're not American soldiers, they're Ukrainian and Russian soldiers. But you're probably talking about 1.5 million. I think we got to bring that one to an end. Okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we had 701,000. My gosh. This video has 701,601 views. This is, I mean, wow, 5 hours ago. I'm so glad I could catch this. I have a lot of comments here. Robert writes, this is from YouTube. I want to thank you, everyone, for watching here live right now. I'm streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Please make sure to follow me and subscribe. So much of this info that Elon is putting down needs to be fact checked for sure. I mean, if anybody is not guilty, they can come forward. And I haven't seen that. I mean, all these people in Congress are millionaires and their salaries are maybe 100,000 or a couple 100,000 a year. I mean, this is insane. I mean, they're guilty. They're guilty. And just with the hotel situation, $59 million 1 week, New York City, people are coming forward, and there's so many people apparently where they're digging this up. I mean, there's no whistleblowers getting killed right now, right? They're moving like lightning speed. I think Elon Musk is using AI to do this. This is my thoughts, because it's just moving so fast. My God. And then let's see. I'm still waiting for the Epstein, JFK, MLK files. What's a holdup? Okay. That's from Bill. Now, I don't know if you know this, but when Pam Bondi was sworn into office just a few days ago, her first day in office, she called, and she's the new Attorney General. She's replaced Merrick Garland. He was extremely corrupt. She is calling for the release of the Epstein files. And not only that, as if that wasn't enough, I was like, holy smokes. What does she do? She stops federal funding and state funding for all sanctuary cities. So this, I mean, everything's happening so quickly. So we have War Czar Tom Homan, who is actually doing ICE raids everywhere right now. Just uncovered some stuff today, and I have to go back and find the video, but there are leakers that are helping these cartels, and they dug up and found out that it was people within the FBI is leaking out where the actual raids are taking place. I know that obviously they're going to come here to Los Angeles. I got word that they would be here this week. So I wanted to go to LA this week, and I told my husband, I said, we want to go downtown Friday because it's the, Flower Mart, Valentine's Day. And this might be the wrong time to go to Los Angeles. Downtown, I don't know. We'll think about it. But next, you think Hamas is going to agree to his terms, or think he's going to have to go in? Now, someone named Doomhead has written this. This is when I said, oh my God, this is the most dangerous time, I think, for us to be, here. Because we have President Trump saying, you better give up the rest of the hostages by Saturday by noon. And today's Tuesday. And I'm a little concerned because Trump knows that he stated, many of those hostages are not even alive, and they are not in good condition when they come back. And I don't know. I mean, this scares me a little bit, because 2 weeks ago, the world was a little more normal when I didn't realize that our state was so overrun with these people from other countries. So now when I go out, it's just empty. Like there's nobody in the stores. But 2 weeks ago, I could have gone downtown LA and, maybe done my usual thing. But right now there's freaking protests going on, people being stabbed. There's graffiti being put out, just buildings are being destroyed. Okay. And there's protests every single day now for, I guess it's been going on. This is the second week. So sometimes I think today is very special because, we went out and had sort of a normal type of life around here. Come Saturday, hell if I know. I don't know, what this terrorist, these are terrorists we're dealing with. They hate us. And, I don't know if World War III is really going to kick off. I swear to God, I don't know. I just have to pray it into it. I haven't received any warning dreams. Usually God gives me a lot of warning dreams. We did have some ways to look into this with people that were prophets, but they've kind of destroyed the office, with so many fake people. So I'd be shocked if either Hamas or Israel lets anything easy happen. They're in the chaos business. Yeah, I know. That's right. So Trump also stated that he was going to do an audit on the military, insinuating that he's going to dig up a lot of stuff with them too. But at the same time, we're looking pretty strong. I mean, I don't know if you caught this, but just last week, they sent troops into Mexico to go after the cartels. And they were like badass with it. And so, I mean, apparently we're not suffering. And I look, I see the Ospreys in the sky. I see the military. I see all kinds of aircraft, in there. So, somebody put, what side are we on? Chip wrote on YouTube. Well, I feel like we have finally a commander-in-chief that is for the people, but we definitely have infiltration, obviously, within the United States of America. It's so easy to see especially with its USAID revelations with all the money and where the money was going. I mean, going to other countries, just basically proving that we're funding terrorists. I mean, they've already stated this, that we've been funding terrorists. So there's people here that are guilty as F-U-C-K. I'm sorry, they are being highlighted right now, and it's ridiculous. You obviously don't like Elon Musk. You want him to go to jail. I tell you, I didn't like Elon either, and the reason why is because I was following him in 2022, and I felt that he would bring in the chip, and he was. So I saw that, but now, he's teamed up with Trump. He bought Twitter, and made it X, and all these things are going on. But I like President Trump. I've been a supporter of President Trump since 2015, and these two guys are, in my opinion, bringing out all the corruption. But here's what I've realized. You either hate Trump or you love him. So whatever side you form on, then you kind of see like what happens with it. So you're in America. It's okay to have different points of view. And that is the beauty of it. One thing that Trump has done is kept our free speech in place to a certain degree. I don't know where TikTok is going to go. I mean, if TikTok goes down, I won't believe it anymore. Like I sort of feel like we're watching an incredible show, but if no arrests happen, I think we're watching the show. I mean, this is I'm not so like in love with following President Trump that I won't call him out. I mean, I called him out with warp speed and the whole vaccine stuff, so we saw one of the space hawk. Everybody's seeing this too. Okay. This is one of the biggest things I'm seeing all over media, especially on TikTok. Everybody filmed this last night. A SpaceX rocket was shot off in the sky last night out here in California. And there's footage of it everywhere. Lots of people that don't know it's SpaceX, that it's connected with Elon Musk, are thinking it's a UFO or this and that. You see a lot of confusion. And it is really weird to see this in the sky. Books about how we train and fund terrorists have been written since JFK. It's not a partisan thing. It's a deep state thing. Yeah, I so agree with you. I think it's a deep state thing, and I think that President Trump had 4 years off to plan how to out all those people. It's one thing to out them, but it would be another thing if nothing happened to them. But however, they just opened up Guantanamo Bay, and they have all the most dangerous criminals that they've just arrested. And they showed this on Homeland Security. You can go to the website, and I actually showed it on my last video that I did a few days ago. They're actually showing them going to prison. So I feel very hopeful. On the one hand, I do. And Paul Kim writes from also on YouTube, Elon is a national treasure. He's fearless to be doing all this for free and for the good of the nation. And that's another thing. This man, Elon Musk, is I would say the most wealthy person in the world. And he's doing this to help us here. And inevitably, the whole world is being helped. And there's a lot more, that will be coming out with them just doing the audit, just, in this one place and focusing mostly on the USAID. And then they're moving on to these other departments. I guess there's just so much. He's our MVP, our Jordan. Yeah, I agree. I think that, for now, at least, it is really turned out to be an incredible satisfaction. Like, it's extremely satisfying to see all this come out. Eric writes, do you think he's doing a good job? Yes. Oh my gosh. He cracks me up. I mean, you can't help but like Elon Musk. When you go over there and you see some of the jokes, he has an incredible sense of humor. The guy doesn't sleep. I always said he was artificial intelligence. He's like super intelligence. And I always wondered about him. I always wondered, okay, did he chip himself already? And he has he never sleeps, and neither does President Trump. I mean, these two, you couldn't put two people together that are better, like that get a team up any better. And even Elon Musk put, I love President Trump like a brother or something to that effect. He just put that out there. And so you see this camaraderie, you see this, it's almost like he has such incredible common sense, and Trump is funny, and you put these two together and they're just, they're doing a heck of a job. And this is like almost too much. I really feel like we have to have a life too. Every day there's just so much breaking with the news, and it's like, it's Trump TV, it's Trump world. If you hate Trump, you're in trouble. But you almost have to love him though, even if you don't like him. Because I was at a coffee shop earlier today, and I couldn't help but notice the paper straws that we have here in California, which are just ridiculous. And the fact that Trump wrote an executive order yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I believe, bringing back plastic straws. Everybody's got to love Trump, and he's bringing back the old light bulbs. He's and just all the Green New Deal and getting us out of all these ridiculous things with having, like in California, they want us to be in electric cars. They wanted us to be in electric cars by 2025, but here we are. And, so many things that, and the problem is that our governor here does not want anything to change. He is wrecking the state. He's being recalled again. And so we're finding out that Kevin Kiley is reporting this, and Carl DeMaio. Kevin Kiley is a rep for California, and he has revealed that there has been over $9 billion paid out for just healthcare to illegals in the state of California. I don't know when, like how far he went back, or was that for 1 year? He didn't state that. But the corruption is coming up. And I think another thing that these two bring to the table would also be courage, so that if people know things, they are able to say it, because how bad can it get now? You know, how bad, how much worse can this be? And so all the people that we've seen doing all these things are being outed, and we knew it was wrong. Like we all knew when Ukraine, they kept passing all these bills, you know, with billions of dollars to go to Ukraine, and, you know, just that had to be wrong. And then Trump just talked about how many people died with the war. So that's why he is forming more of an alliance with the president of Russia, Putin. It only makes sense because he wants us to get us out of that war. I mean, this is like common sense stuff. You know, you want to be a peacemaker, right? So what is Trump being? He's like turned out to be the peacemaker of the whole world right now with Elon Musk on his tailcoats. Somebody's writing from South Africa that we need Africa on our side and not let it fall to China. Okay. Nuke the ice caps writes this. I like your name. It's cool. We'll definitely pray for South Africa. I know that there's a lot coming out, which I'd already known about this, that white people were being murdered and killed in South Africa. And there was a lot of devastation going on in that country. It isn't Elon Musk from South Africa? I'm trying to recall. I think that's his accent, right? Yeah, so we'll definitely be praying. And China, okay, look, China, Trump kept the tariff on with China, you know, because Mexico folded, and what was the other country? Mexico and what was it? The two places he was going to tariff. They pushed it back, I guess, a month. The 10% tariff started, and companies are feeling the pain. And I'll tell you one that is. I'm in a promotional business industry, and my industry gets a lot of things made overseas, just like a lot of, you know, imports are happening right from China. And I think also the hair industry, you're going to see a lot of the hair industry really, I already saw it go up in some prices. So there's already been some stuff happening because of China. You know, China has way too much power. I mean, how many of us can go shopping here in the States and you barely can find anything not made in China? And so they have a lot of power here too. And it looks like they're impacting over in Africa. So Trump is going to make sure, but it's going to be painful because places like, let's say, even the Dollar Tree will probably, which is a retail little chain that's somewhat affordable, it's probably going to maybe go out of business and this is just whole retail is just being thrown too. I've seen empty stores, and I mean, this stuff's filled up with plus stuff from China. And okay, thanks, William. I appreciate your comment that you're watching from Chicago. How's the weather over there? We've had a little bit of cold weather here in Southern California, and it's just not so normal. We're supposed to get a lot of rain. Unfortunately, this next couple days, we're not looking forward to that, especially with the recent fires. They're expecting a bunch of mudslides to happen, so the news is reporting on all this. I may still be checking out Los Angeles in the next few days. I couldn't imagine being in the middle of an ice raid. Can you imagine? But apparently Tom Homan comes out with all these raids, so I'd love to meet him. And he did team up with Dr. Phil, Dr. Phil, and you can go to merittv.com and see some of those updates. That's all I have for right now. I'm going to come back because I had some more stuff planned to show with the mass deportations. And I kind of want to talk a little bit more about my state of California and how we're suffering under the governor here and mayor and what is happening. So I'll probably be back in just a little bit. And William Grant is letting me know that it is 24 degrees in Chicago and 0 tomorrow. Okay, and you're supposed to get snow. Okay, I have no complaints because we're in the 50s. We're over here by the coast, and it's like the 50s. So It feels like so much colder though, but I'm really sorry. You are in some serious coldness. And I know a lot of the country is, and especially in other nations. So we have it pretty good here in California. We'd like to see the sun more. And there is definitely a climate agenda going on here and with, all over the world. I've seen it. So anyway, what do y'all think about the interview with Elon Musk and Donald Trump? Every day it's something though. So I'm just trying to keep up. But anyway, God bless y'all. Thanks for watching. And please do make sure to subscribe to my channel and I'll be back soon.